He was born in a frozen Siberian village, almost illiterate, forgotten by history, until he walked into the palace of the Tsar and changed the destiny of an empire. This is the story of Grigori Rasputin, a man who became a legend, a monster, and a saint all at once. But who was he really? The truth is far stranger than the myth. Our story begins in the desolate heart of Siberia, in the village of Pokrovskoye, 1869. Here, in a world of ice and unforgiving wilderness, Grigori was born. He was the only one of his many siblings to survive past infancy, a small miracle in a place where life was cheap. He grew up wild, uneducated, and practically invisible to the pages of history. For most of his early life, he didn't exist to the outside world. Locals would later whisper tales of a strange boy who had prophetic visions, who could see things others couldn't. But these are just ghosts of stories. The historical record of his youth is a blank page. It's as if he materialized out of the Siberian frost, a man with no past. Then, in 1897, something shifted. At the age of 28, a married man with children, Grigori abruptly abandoned everything. He left his home, his family, his entire life behind, and vanished into the vastness of Russia. He embarked on a mysterious religious pilgrimage, walking for thousands of miles. When he returned, he was no longer Grigori the peasant. He was a strange, a wandering holy man. This new man was different. His eyes were said to possess a hypnotic, unnerving power. He claimed to have prophetic dreams and possessed an uncanny ability to soothe troubled minds, to heal not the body, but the soul. What caused this radical transformation? Some historians point to a forgotten detail, a severe head injury he may have suffered as a teenager. Could a physical blow to the brain have unlocked something dormant within him, altering his personality and setting him on this extraordinary path? We will likely never know for sure. The man who returned from the wilderness was a puzzle, a charismatic enigma who seemed to channel an ancient mystical power. This wandering holy man's fame spread like wildfire through a spiritually hungry Russia. His reputation eventually reached the highest, most desperate ears in the empire, the Tsar and Tsarina. Their only son, the heir to the throne, Alexei, was cursed with hemophilia. A single bump or scrape could trigger uncontrollable bleeding, bringing him to the edge of death. The finest doctors in the empire were powerless, their treatments often making things worse. In their despair, the royal family summoned the Siberian peasant. When Rasputin entered the gilded halls of the imperial palace, he did something shocking. He commanded the doctors to stop all medical treatments. He simply sat with the boy, spoke to him in calming tones, and prayed. And then, the impossible happened. The bleeding stopped. Alexei's condition improved. To the desperate Tsarina Alexandra, this was not medicine. It was a divine miracle. She believed Rasputin was a man sent directly from God to save her son. Modern science offers a more clinical explanation. The doctors of the time frequently prescribed aspirin, a common painkiller that we now know is a blood thinner, disastrous for a hemophiliac. By simply stopping the cure, Rasputin allowed the boy's body to heal itself. But in the eyes of the imperial family, he was a savior. From that day forward, the illiterate peasant from Siberia had a direct line to the most powerful family in Russia. His influence began to seep into the very foundations of the state, as the Tsarina trusted his counsel not just on matters of faith, but on matters of politics and war. Rasputin's newfound power was a scandal. The Russian aristocracy was horrified. How could this dirty, uneducated peasant hold such sway over the empress? Dark rumors began to swirl through the drawing rooms of St. Petersburg. They called him a heretic, a demonic hypnotist who used his eyes to bewitch the Tsarina for his own lustful and political gains. They whispered he was a German spy, a cult leader, even the Antichrist himself, sent to bring down Holy Russia. It's crucial to understand, Rasputin was never a monk. He held no official position in the Russian Orthodox Church. He was an outsider who had breached the inner sanctum of power. This infuriated the elite. He was a walking, breathing embarrassment to the empire. The hatred became so intense that in 1914, a woman, a fanatic who believed the rumors, attacked him with a knife, screaming, "I have killed the Antichrist." He survived, but the incident was a dark omen of the violence to come. The end for Rasputin is a story so bizarre it feels like a dark fairy tale. It is perhaps the most mysterious assassination in history. In the freezing December of 1916, a group of powerful nobles, including the Tsar's own nephew, conspired to eliminate the mad monk. They lured him to a lavish palace, promising a secret rendezvous. The plan was simple: poison him. They allegedly fed him cakes and wine laced with enough cyanide to kill several men. But Rasputin just kept eating and drinking, complaining only that the wine was sweeter than usual. The poison had no effect. Panicked, one of the conspirators, Prince Felix Yusupov, pulled out a revolver and shot Rasputin in the chest. He collapsed. The plotters, believing him dead, prepared to dispose of the body. But as they approached, Rasputin's eyes snapped open. With a terrifying roar, he leaped to his feet and lunged at his attackers before staggering out into the snowy courtyard, trying to escape. The conspirators chased him down, shooting him again multiple times. Then they brutally beat his body with a club. To make absolutely certain he was dead, they bound him and threw him through a hole in the ice into the freezing Neva River. When his body was recovered days later, the autopsy revealed a horrifying detail. His lungs were full of water. This suggests that even after being poisoned, shot, and beaten, Grigori Rasputin was still alive when he was thrown into the river. He had drowned. Rasputin's prophetic and violent death became a symbol for the doom of the empire he served. He had once warned the Tsar, "If I die or you desert me, in 6 months you will lose your son and your throne." His prediction was terrifyingly accurate. Just 2 months after his murder, the February Revolution erupted, and Tsar Nicholas II was forced to abdicate. A year later, the entire Romanov family, the Tsar, the Tsarina, and all their children, including Alexei, were executed by Bolshevik revolutionaries. The 300-year-old dynasty was extinguished in a storm of blood and chaos. So, what is the legacy of Grigori Rasputin? Was he a demonic manipulator who used faith to seize power? A dark force that hastened the fall of Russia? Or was he a misunderstood mystic, a folk healer whose psychological insight was mistaken for black magic? His story is a tangled web of religion, politics, scandal, and revolution. He remains one of history's most polarizing figures, a man who rose from nothing to become the secret master of an empire, only to have his death foreshadow its cataclysmic end. The truth about the man from Siberia is likely buried forever, lost somewhere between the myth and the reality. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into one of history's darkest secrets. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of the past. Let us know in the comments what you think about Rasputin. We'll see you in the next video.